Where's Megan? Is she here? She's hiding. Okay. So I'm Paula Reis. I'm a social worker in the Safe Schools Department, and my program in particular, just to give you a bit of background, is in the long-term suspension program. I guess everyone knows now that as of 2008, when students get suspended, they're entitled to receive academic support and social emotional support. So that's what I've been doing since 2008. So, is this the clicker? Okay, wait, clicker support up here. So, since 2008, I've been working with suspended students, and it was really interesting to see the types of students that would get caught and be sent to our program. They were just the ones that were unlucky enough to get caught. And they spoke very openly with us, they were very frank, and they started to give us a lot of information about the other kinds of things that were going on in their schools, and the kinds of concerns that they were having, and with a lot of students that weren't getting caught. So after a few years of thinking about this, we started to realize that the real experts in safe school issues were the students. And we wanted to start engaging them and get their ideas about what to do about it. So in 2014, we started a very small project that we call the Safe School Ambassador Teams. So we started with just 5 secondary schools. We asked that they send us 2 students and a teacher that could meet with us a few times a year and talk to us about their safe schools concerns. So it started very small. We'd meet a few evenings during the year, and they came with their concerns and their thoughts and what they needed from us. So we started to share information. We started to bring them some speakers, and the next thing we knew, this had grown to every one of our high schools. All of a sudden, every one of our high schools wanted to have an ambassador team. So very small beginnings, 2014, and it has just evolved.
So I'm Amanda. I'm new to the TIPS program. I'm a teacher working with students on long-term suspension and in the expulsion program as well. So I'm new to it this year, but just in the brief time that I've been working with the department, I've learned a lot about the Ambassadors program and how important it is to have student input when we're talking about what's going on in our schools, because we find that the students really want to take ownership for their schools, and they really want to have a say in what's going on and how to make it better. And as Paula said, they're the kind of the man on the ground. They're the inside eyes. They know what's going on in the schools, oftentimes before some of the staff does. So it's really good to have them on board and to work with them. Currently, we have 30 secondary schools that are involved in the Ambassadors program. And as Paula mentioned, when it started with 5 students, 2 students? 2 students per school, and it's grown now. There's schools with up to 20 ambassadors, some even larger in our city's East End. They have quite a following. And it's also started spilling over not only in the high school level, but into the elementary school level. So the intermediate grades, grade 7 and 8 students, our newest ambassadors, they are also starting to participate in the program and starting to form Safe Schools ambassador groups at the elementary school level as well.
So the issues in every school were slightly different, and it really allowed for that kind of individualization of what each school needed. So some of the topics that were coming up were cyberbullying, girl shaming, on the types of online communications that were going on, healthy relationships, and safe boundaries, just to name a few. Okay? And so in the beginning, in order to get their messages out, the schools started to, these students started creating videos. And they created videos for their school communities and for the school board at large. And here, where is there no sound?
You should tweet that. You should tweet that.
I don't think I should.
Whatever. Anyways, how about that?
So that was from St. Basil the Great, and that was their video on positive online communications. And here's another example. Bishop Allen did something on I think it was girl shaming or cyberbullying. Here it is.
Oh my god, Lucy, I got a 7 out of 10. A 7 out of 10. I mean, it could be worse, but still. Oh my god. What's your score?
On what?
Bestoftherest.com? Gosh, you're so out of it.
Did you see Lucy's Instagram post? That's disgusting. I know, right? I hate bug eyes.
Vanessa! Do you want to do something? I've got way too much work to do. Hey, wait up, guys!
Hey, what were you doing talking to bug eyes over there?
You heard? Nothing. She's a loser.
So I just wanted to repeat that. So at Bishop Allen, they had an issue with girl rating. You know what that is. And so they took this on. They took on this project, a problem that was happening in their very own school. They created it, they developed it, they filmed it, they put it out. And it was all student-led. So it was an amazing response to a problem in their own community.
So just want to talk a little bit about some of the partnerships that the Safe Schools Ambassadors program has. One of the main partnerships that we pair with is PrevNet. So they're a Canadian association of researchers, NGOs, and youth organizations that work to address bullying in Canadian schools. And if anyone has time to check out their website, it's interesting because all of the data that's on their website is Canadian-based data, which is great to have a Canadian example. We also do lots of work with Toronto Police Services. Megan McGarry, who's one of the COYO committee members, she's actually a regular speaker from Toronto Police Services who comes to speak to our students, as well as the teachers in the Safe Schools Department. We work with social work, other Safe Schools advisors, Safe Schools educators, like myself and the other TIPS teachers, TCDSB leadership staff, TCDSB religious education staff, and then community motivational speakers. So 3 times a year, to get our students together to see what each individual school is working on, we will host symposium. So they're hosted 3 times a year at a banquet hall in Toronto, and each symposium centers around a specific theme. So some of the ones we've had in the past have been Speak Up, Stand Up, Be Outstanding, Resiliency, Believe in Yourself, Worrisome Behaviors, and our next symposium, which is coming up on Tuesday, is going to focus on student safety and well-being. partners are brought in to address the various safe schools issues. So in our symposium coming up, we're going to be having a presentation from Toronto Police Services talking about youth trends that they're seeing and how to make students aware. We're also having breakaway addictions come in, and they're going to be talking about fentanyl and the threat it poses to students in our schools. During each symposium, students have an opportunity to apply for a Safe Schools grant of $300, and this is used to assist them in their Safe Schools Ambassadors initiatives. So in the past, students have used this to fund workshops, to purchase materials, or to hire guest speakers to come to their schools. They also share best practices, and it offers them lots of networking opportunities. What we found is students from high schools they'll get a bus for 3 different schools, and they'll come to the event together, and then they'll share amongst themselves what they've been doing at each school, and they'll bounce ideas off each other and then share their best practices, like I said, from there, and implement some of those strategies at their own schools. We also usually start off each symposium with a keynote speaker or motivational speaker. So in the past, we've had Molly Burke, who is a blind anti-bullying activist. Sarah Wells was our most recent. She's a Canadian Olympic hurdler. Orlando Bowen, Louise Russo, and Wally Shaw, who is a spoken word artist. And then we also have community organizations come in and make presentations to the students as well. So Toronto Police Services is a common one, who they usually attend all of our symposiums, and then Breakaway Addictions, who will be attending our symposium on Tuesday. And we just wanted to end off with another example of the work that our students have been doing in their ambassador programs. And the end piece of this short video clip was actually filmed at one of our symposiums. So just interesting to see kind of what goes on there.
Thank you, Jessica. Next up is Mary.
Bullying is not a normal part of growing up.
75% of people say they've been affected by bullying.
Peers are present during 90% of bullying incidents.
60% of males who bully have a criminal record by the age of 24.
Cyberbullying is the use of information and communication technology to harm another person.
30% of youth have been cyberbullied. How are you going to stand up?
How are you going to stand up? TCDSB stands up.
1, 2,
So the symposiums are always a highlight for us, and you can see like all that enthusiasm is pretty much present at each one of our symposiums. So, yes, we usually have about 300 students at each one. So it's really grown. Yeah, that's it.
Questions?